Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all doing well. A friend of mine recently suggested that I do a platinum review for Saints Row since I just got the platinum for it about a week ago, and they're not too sure if they want to jump into it or not, so they want to get my opinion on it and have me kind of give it a little platinum review, see if it's worth their time or not. And I hope it helps some of you as well. So let's get on to it. First up, I'll give like a little summary of the game itself, my thoughts on the game itself, because no one wants to platinum a crappy game, right? Well, most people don't. So, you can give a little summary, see if you want to platinum based off this. Story-wise, I'd give the game pretty much a 3.5 out of 10. It's pretty bad. It's pretty cringe-worthy, and it takes a lot to make me cringe. I grew up on stuff like spaghetti westerns and old 80s campy horror movies, so it takes a bit to make me cringe, and there was a couple times where I was like, ugh, that joke just did not hit. So the story is pretty bad. I'll admit it does get a little better, like pretty much the last mission. I think it just has kind of an identity crisis because sometimes it's like the story is like, oh, I'm a badass criminal, and then other times it's like, no, I'm just a friendly murderer, silly murderer who likes to hang out with their friends, and it kind of goes back and forth between that and never really finds a good footing. Finally, I think the last mission finally does a pretty decent job of hitting that I'm a badass criminal mark while still being kind of silly. But unfortunately, you gotta suffer through the rest of the story to get to that final mission.
I caught him!
But because of that, I give it a 3.5. I bump it up an extra half a point just for the last mission. The gameplay itself, though, I say the gameplay is its saving grace because I give the gameplay about a 6 out of 10 because I think the combat's pretty fluid. Sometimes the auto aim can be kind of weird. Sometimes it like seems to want to prioritize a stronger enemy, even though there's an enemy right in front of your face, meleeing you to death. That's kind of annoying, but other than that, I thought the combat was pretty well done. And then the driving's okay, but they rely heavily on drifting. So sometimes, and the drifting's so inconsistent. Sometimes it works out pretty well. Sometimes it goes way too much and you're on the sidewalk. Overall, I'd give the game a 5 out of 10. Just meh. You know, that's pretty much what you're going to be saying it the whole time you play it. Is meh. It's not bad, but it's definitely not good. Right in the middle, 5 out of 10. Meh. That's where I'd put it. So, are you wanting to platinum a meh game? Do you think a meh game is worth your time? I'd give the platinum difficulty overall about a 2.5 out of 10. Nothing really is too hard. You get 7 of the 50 trophies just by playing through the game, story related, that can't be missed. And most of the rest are pretty easy. You know, there's a few annoying ones in there, which I'll talk about the few annoying ones later. But overall, I'll give it a 2.5 out of 10. I'll bump it up an extra 0.5 just for the time it takes. I personally say it takes about 60 to 70 hours. So it's not a super long platinum by any means, but it's not a short one either. I have seen people say they can do it in about 40 hours. PSN Profiles here has it at 45, which I still think is a little too short. My PlayStation 5 said it took me 78 hours and 13 minutes, but some of that was AFK time. Some of that was spent on time doing stuff out in the desert that I didn't need to do, which I'll talk more about on that later. Some of that was spending extra time on challenges I didn't need to do, and some of that was spending time looking for the collectibles myself instead of just looking them up. So I think personally, if I was to go crazy and platinum it again on the PS4 version, because I platinumed the PS5 version, I think if I was to go back and platinum the PS4 version like right now, I think I could probably do it within like 50 to 60 hours. 45? I don't know. I still think that's a little too quick, but that's what PSN Profile says, so I don't know who might argue with the mighty PSN Profiles. There is one online co-op trophy that you need to do, but it's pretty quick, and it's pretty simple as well. I'll talk more about that later, but I do want to give one little note here, is that you should save the co-op trophy for last. It's called Prankster. There has been reports that it will bug out your challenges, so like once you join a co-op game or once someone joins yours, sometimes your challenges will not progress anymore after that. There has been conflicting reports on whether or not that was fixed in the latest patch, so I would still want to risk it. I would still save Prankster for last. So my friend wanted me to discuss some of the more annoying things about the game, about the grind of the platinum, And I will first and foremost discuss the bugs and the glitches. When this game first came out, apparently it was riddled with bugs and glitches, but if you play on the latest patch version, you should be fine. I did run into a few bugs and glitches, but most of them were like very minor, like cars kind of sinking into the ground, but usually that fixed itself and stuff like that. There was two kind of major bugs I ran into. One of them was in a mission where you and your NPC friends you're with slingshotted over a gate, and your character goes first, and then the other three characters go. And for me, the last character would get stuck and then want to get slingshotted, even though their voice dialogue would say, oh, I'm coming over, but they wouldn't. And so I restarted from the checkpoint. I had to do it 2 more times. Restarted from the checkpoint once, did it again, restarted from the checkpoint again, and it finally went through. On the third time, the one that it finally went through, I didn't move my character. After I got slingshotted over the fence, I just stayed there and waited for all the other characters to get slingshotted over. Is that what fixed it? I don't know. I'll just say it to you. If you run into that same bug, try to not move your character and see if that works for you. As for the mission, you'll know what mission it is. If you come across that bug, you'll know immediately if I want to say slingshot it over the fence. The other major bug that came to me is I got into a helicopter and the camera heavily zoomed in when I got in the helicopter. It zoomed, I'm talking 1,000 magnification. It was crazy. It made it impossible to see anything of what I was doing. I restarted from checkpoint, that didn't fix it. And I restarted the game, that did fix it. And I looked that bug up online. Other people confirmed that restarting the game fixed that for them. So if you do run into that bug, I hear it can happen on helicopters and the VTOL when you're switching into VTOL mode. So if that happens to you, restart the game, and that should fix it. All right, let's go down here and look at some of the game's rarest trophies, and I'll kind of give you some tips on those. Let's search by rarity PSN. Of course, the platinum. First rarest one, other than the platinum, is Jack of all trades. Jack of all trades, you need to unlock all the skills in the game, and how you unlock skills is by completing challenges. And some of the challenges are kind of annoying, but you unlock more as you progress through the game. You unlock some every time you buy a new business, and then you unlock some just as you get further along in the game. So my suggestion here, what I did was I would look at them. So when you first start the game, when you can get access to challenges, look at them, see what needs to be done, and then as you get more, continue to look at them and try to do them as you're doing the story missions, or as you're trying to complete all the districts. Try to get them done as you're working on everything else. That way, you don't have to grind too many at the end of the game. I'd suggest waiting for the end of the game to focus on it, because I personally stopped midway through the game and started doing a bunch of challenges because I thought you had to do most, if not all of them, but that's not the case. You only need to complete 46 out of the 76 challenges. So once I figured that out, I was I was 3 challenges away from being done, and so I stopped worrying about challenges. And then I got some easier ones as the game went on, because sometimes the later ones you unlock are pretty easy, and I ended up beating another 8 or so challenges just by playing through the rest of the game. So I don't suggest worrying too much about challenges until after you beat the game. The next rarest trophy is a Car Named Simone. And this one you gotta do a quadruple backflip in one jump. For this one I suggest the off-road buggy called Ant. You can get this vehicle for free in your garage if you do the Pony Express side hustles. I think you get it when you do the very first one. I'm not 100% sure on that. And so I kind of recommend saving this trophy for a little bit later when you got some extra cash, because it'll be way easier to do if you fully upgrade the buggy, which costs you $130,000, and then add nitro to it, and nitrous is another $7,500. So you want to have a little bit spare cash ready to go. And then also make sure you get the upgrade for the Ant. You need to do 2 backflips. It doesn't have to be done in one jump. You can do 1 backflip then another, and that will get you the vehicle upgrade called Super Air Control. And then when you do, you hold L1 and you can spin faster. So once you get the upgrade for the Super Air Control, find a good jump to where you'll get enough air to do 4 backflips. There are a few spots to do it, and just find a good enough spot for it. Hold L1 down on the L stick on the left analog stick, You should be able to get 4 backflips, and once you do, that trophy will be yours. Here's my video for it if you want some help on that. Next up is Fiesta Time. With this one, you need to hit a launched pinata from the pinata gun with the pinata stick. You should have both of these things when you're near your platinum. You unlock the pinata gun after completing the Let's Pretend business venture, which you get that at Criminal Empire 4, which I think the max is 5. So you're pretty far along in the game at that point. And you get the pinata stick once you complete a certain action mission that you can find in Moreno West. In order to get the pinata stick, you go into the crowbar and you change the crowbar's look to the pinata stick. Then once you have both of them, simply launch a pinata out of the pinata gun, switch to your pinata stick, and then go up and hit the pinata, which is actually easier said than done, as you can see from my video here.
I'm good.
Next rarest trophy we got is Heard You Like Wills. This one actually sounds worse than it is because it says to unlock all the special vehicle upgrades, and there's a lot of vehicles in the game, but thankfully there are only about 8 different vehicle upgrade challenges. So a lot of vehicles share the same upgrade challenge, so they just mean you got to do the 8 different upgrade challenges once. That's all it means. So you don't have to log it off for all the different vehicles. Just do the 8 different challenges. The 2 challenges I found the most annoying were side swipes, because side swipes are kind of a pain. Sometimes even if you do it, it doesn't get you credit for it. My suggestion for that is just wait until you have the food truck, and the food truck's pretty easy to get side swipes in. And the other one is to do 360 spins. That one, the trick part about that one is it's not very common of a challenge, so very few vehicles have it. So it's hard to kind of find a good vehicle for it. Like the buses, for example, that's the challenges they have, but buses are just too dang slow. So I finally found a truck that had as a challenge, and you can see it in this video here. Next up, we have armor piercing. In this one, you need to kill a tank driver with the quantum aperture skill. You get the quantum aperture skill from the Eureka Bader business venture, and then once you have that skill, there's 2 things you can do. You can either cause enough havoc to get to police 1 to level 5 and a tank will come, then you can do it that way, but sometimes it's hard to keep the 1 level up. If you kill like all the police that's around, eventually your 1 level will go down, go away. So I actually personally suggest waiting until you have the radio business venture, because in that one you can pull up your contacts and actually start a fight with the police, and then usually that one will not end until you get to the 5-star and the mini boss and the tank comes out. So that's definitely an easier way to do it. Next up is It's a Bird. This one requires you to do all challenges that require the wingsuit. I've heard some people having major issues with this trophy, because this seems like the one that most people have trouble with is the wingsuit boost off six people in 30 seconds. I personally didn't really have a problem with this, but I have heard some people say that they couldn't find enough pedestrians. My suggestion here is go to one of the lake shores, either Lakeshore North or Lakeshore South. That's like the major city area. I personally did it in Lakeshore North, I believe, and just when you wingsuit boost off someone, just keep spamming L1. That's how to do wingsuit boost. Not R1. R1's the takedown. You want L1, and that will bounce off pedestrians and do the wingsuit boost, and hopefully you will find enough to do 6 in 30 seconds. But if you're ever in trouble finding pedestrians, sometimes restarting the game, I noticed, will help kind of bring more traffic and more pedestrians back to the game. So if you're ever in trouble finding a lot of pedestrians, even in the city, then I suggest restarting the game, and hopefully that will help. If you're pressing L1 and you can't wingsuit boost, like if L1's doing nothing, then that means you haven't unlocked the ability to do the wingsuit boost yet. That unlocks after you complete Criminal Empire 2. Next rarest trophy we got is the Collector. This one you need to get 85 of the 115 collectibles. So, as you can see, you don't need to get all the collectibles. And also the DLCs would kind of help here, because you do get quite a few collectibles going through the DLCs, but that's not a requirement. It's not necessarily, I'm just saying it would help. But I personally didn't have any of the DLCs. I personally don't really think the DLCs are worth it, but I'm just throwing that out there. So, for these, of course, I would recommend following a guide. I I kind of snapped them as I found them going through the story, and when I got done with all the other trophies, this was my second to last trophy I needed, and I needed 11 more collectibles. And I said that should be easy enough, so they give you a little hint in-game where to find them, and that's how I found my last 11, which ended up taking me way too much longer than it should have. I didn't think it would, but it did. So just take my advice and use a guide for that one, so that way you're not wasting time. Next rarest trophy we have is called All Mine. This one is for completing 15 districts in the game, but there are more than 15 districts in the game. There are actually 21. But these 15 you need are the main 15 that are closest in the city. They're in the city. So that means the others that are out in the desert, you do not really need to worry about them. The only things you need to do out in the desert is the side hustles, the photo hunts, and buying one thing from each of the stores out there, because there's a trophy for buying at least one thing from each of the stores. So other than that, you don't need to worry about the deserts. This is where some of my time was wasted, because I actually did quite a bit. I was out in the deserts. I found quite a lot of the collectibles out there. I did like the shooting range challenges out there. Those are not required for the platinum, so you do not need to do those. If you want to do them, great. If not, then they're not required. And also, of course, snapping pictures of any collectibles you find out there will also help towards the collector trophy. And then finally, last up, we got Prankster. Is the co-op one. Like I said, for the co-op trophy, I highly suggest saving this one for last, because there's rumors that it can bug out your challenges. So when you finally do this one, when you finally join a co-op game or someone joins your game, you need to do a challenge. The challenge is usually pretty simple. For me personally, when I did it, my challenge was to drift in a vehicle for a total of 30 seconds. And then my friend's challenge was to speed in a motor vehicle for a minute. And so once you get the challenge done, you just hold left on the D-pad and it will prank your partner, and boom, you'll have the trophy. It's done. Shouldn't take you more than like 5 minutes. And of course, make sure you stick around and let your partner prank you if they also need the trophy. So again, to recap, here are a few tips. Again, I gotta say it, save the co-op trophy for last. It's been reported that it causes bugs, and you don't want to mess with that. And then, like I mentioned earlier, if a bug happens to you in a mission to where you can't progress, it's preventing you from progressing somehow, first thing I recommend is restarting from checkpoint, and if that doesn't fix it, then restarting your game will seem like it fixes it in most cases. And then, another tip is, like I said, only focus on the side hustles, the photo hunts, and buying an item from each of the stores out in the desert. Other than that, you can pretty much completely ignore the desert, unless, like I said, you see some collectibles to take a picture out there. All the other trophies I feel are pretty self-explanatory, shouldn't be too much of an issue, but if you are having an issue with some of them, then leave a comment down below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can and help you out if I can. Or if maybe you need a co-op partner, feel free to leave your PSN ID down in the comments, and maybe you can find someone else who needs it as well, and you all can help each other. I'm pretty sure there's no cross-play, so that means only PlayStation players can team up with one another. However, I can't confirm that players who are playing the PS4 version of the game can join players who are on the PS5 version of the game. Personally, when I did it, I was on the PS5 version and my friend was on the PS4 version, and he joined my game and we were able to do it that way. So at least you can do it cross versions, but like I said, I don't think there's any cross play. Sorry, Xbox players, but if you are watching this, Xbox players, then feel free to leave your Xbox gamer tag down below as well, and maybe you'll find another Xbox player who needs it as well. Alright, I guess that does it for this Platinum review. If this helped you out, feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I don't know how many more Platinum reviews I'll be doing in the future. Maybe I'll do one for RoboCop coming up. I'm pretty slow nowadays. Now that I'm older, I'm slow to Platinum games. So don't expect any brand new games to get Platinum reviewed right off the bat. I don't get games early, sadly. So yeah, but if you enjoyed it, maybe I will make more of these. I hope you enjoyed, everybody. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.
And maybe next time they'll drive their own damn trucks to the dump. I can't believe